works. In about maybe 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to stop talking and you're going to start doing what we call the experiment. I love it when you keep showing your face because then I get that feedback. It's also not a requirement because pretty soon we're going to go really internal on this one. And if you work in an office environment, you're going to look weird because you're probably going to close your eyes. So just so you know, that is on its way to an experience near yours. Thank you for being here for the experiment. The experiment is what I call this. It was completely inspired by a guy named David R. Hawkins and reading his book called Letting Go. What we are not doing is his exact process. There are a couple things I like to do that are a little bit different when it comes to how David R. Hawkins does things. And I see the smile on a few of your faces. You know, I just like to do things different, period, anyway. So, and that's you I'm talking to there, Max. I said a few, but it's really your face I'm talking about. So thank you for being here. Here's the rest of how this is going to work. This will be the flow. We'll do some conversation. I'll do some teaching, and then I'll invite you to run an experiment. We'll come back. We'll have some conversation. I'll do a little teaching. I'll invite you to run an experiment. This will be weird because in my dream scenario, in about 5 minutes, you're going to turn off the sound on me. You're probably going to close your eyes, although that's optional, and you're going to run an experiment. In my perfect world, when you run the experiment, it is so groovy. It is so fascinating. It is so interesting. It feels so good that you don't want to come back. And my dream scenario is that you do not come back until about 10 minutes to the next hour. Because at that point, we'll do some more sharing and I'll have some, what do they call it? Going homework for you. So clever. I stole that from someone else. I wish I could remember who I stole it from. So here's my your first action today, and you're not going to have a lot of actions. Please set a timer so that you come back at about 10 minutes to the next hour. And I'm asking you to do that because hopefully here in just a handful of minutes, you're going to close your eyes. You're going to go to such a groovy place that you will not want to return. And the best case scenario is that you don't want to return, but that you do return at about 10 minutes to the hour for two reasons. One, again, you're going homework. And two, you probably have something else you need to attend to today. And so that'll get you back on track. So again, please set your timer for 10 minutes to the next hour, whatever that one is. Here's some very important news flash coming in. You cannot do anything wrong between now and the end of this time on your calendar. You can do 0 things wrong. And the reason I say this is the experiment is all about feeling your feelings. That's what it's all about. It's all about feeling your feelings. And the fact is, and somebody said this to me recently, well, I'm not very good at feeling my feelings. And I thought to myself, my gosh, I think that's probably true. And then a day or two later, I thought, wait a minute, that's impossible. We are always feeling our feelings. And this is what I mean by that. You are, at least those of you I can see, are wearing clothes. If you tune into the fact that you're wearing a shirt, you can feel your shirt. If you tune into the fact that you're wearing socks, you can feel your socks. You're just not tuned into that all the time. So you are always feeling your feelings. You're always feeling the clothing you're wearing. You can actually always feel the fact that you have hair on your head if you have hair on your head. You can always feel the fact that you have ears if you have ears. You're just not tuned into it. So you cannot do anything wrong because what this is about is feeling your feelings. And here's the other groovy thing. You were born with an innate ability to feel your feelings. Until you could speak, that's all you could do is feel your feelings or express them. But while you were expressing them, you were feeling them. You are naturally capable of this. This is how you were born. This is who you naturally are. What else do I want to say before I'm going to make my first invitation to run an experiment? Set your timer. Here's the other thing. So this was inspired by, for those of you who want to dig in, the book Letting Go by David Hawkins. To me, this is the funniest freaking book on the planet. I will probably read you some of the things I think are hilarious about it today. The basics of what he said are this. So here's Sarah teaching round 1 today. He said lots of really huge things that I think are really important. I'm going to highlight two right away. The first one is this, and this is what got me laughing when I started reading the book. One of the things he says this, we have feelings, and I'm going to define feelings. There are things called emotions out in the world. Those are technically those, whatever you want to call them, electrical charges or the things that go through you. There's a word called feelings, and that's the talking about or having concepts about your feelings. What this is all about is feeling the emotions, feeling the thing that in other parts of our world we try to talk about. And this is what David Hawkins said that is so crazy to me. He said, we have these emotions, we have these experiences, we have these things I call feelings, because it's more fun to say feel your feelings than feel your emotions. It's just more repetitive. And I'm an English major, and therefore that's how I want to talk about it. So, or I was an English major. So there are feelings that we experience. He said, what we do as humans is one of three things, typically. We either push it down, we suppress it or repress it. That sounds right to me and probably not that great for us. Then he says we escape from them. We don't know what to do with them, so we escape. We work really hard, we drink really hard, we gamble really hard, we play really hard, we do something to escape from them. And that's not great, he said. That makes sense to me logically. I can see some of you going, yeah, doesn't really, not the best choice. The thing that made me laugh and still makes me laugh and blew my mind was this. The third thing he said we do that is actually not helpful is we express them. We talk about them. We yell about them. We express them. What? That's crazy. That's crazy talk. Here's what he means by that. He says feelings are meant to be felt. They're meant to be felt. They're meant to be experienced 100% all the way. And when you express them, or when you shove them down, or when you escape from them, you don't feel them all the way. That's what he says. What I say is when you push them down, or you escape from them, or you express them, you put them in a situation where they're chasing you around everywhere. You put them in a situation where they're sitting on top of your head, whispering in your ear all the time. And then you have all of this noise in your life. If you don't feel them fully, you put them, let's pretend you're in a room with a door shut. You put them outside of the door, and then they're out there knocking on your door all day long. And you do that to 2 or 3. Now there's 2 or 3 knocking. If any of you are parents, at least this was my experience when I had toddlers, I couldn't go to the bathroom without them knocking on the door. They were always knocking on the door when I went to the bathroom. They were trying to get in. I don't know why. That's the experience you have, or I have anyway, when you don't fully experience your emotions. Now they stand outside of the door and they knock on the door, and there's a whole lifetime of them knocking on the door. What David Hawkins says that I think is so brilliant is they're lined up. When you tune into them and you feel them, the most perfect first one will be there available to you. You don't have to pick what it is. It will simply show up and be available to you. The most accessible one is likely to be right there, ready to be felt. And that is my invitation to you right now. I'm going to do a short one. For some people, this is so freaking crazy and uncomfortable and bizarre. We're going to spend 2 minutes, and you're just going to feel whatever shows up. If you are like me, you're going to experience a lot of thinking too. There'll be thinking happening. There'll be rules about what you think you're supposed to do. There'll be thoughts about how cuckoo Sarah is, or why did you do this on a Monday? What am I thinking, right? There'll be all that. Great, welcome it in. Your only task, which is not really a task, is to tune into the feeling around the thought barrage you get and to feel whatever's there until it goes away, which it will. And a next one, again, thinking about these feelings are just waiting on your door knocking. The next one will show up, feel that one. And it will probably come with thoughts. You don't have to ignore them. You don't have to call them bad. Let the thoughts come, let the feelings come. And whatever comes next, feel it and feel it and feel it. If you think, I am doing this wrong, this isn't working, awesome. Feel the feeling that comes with that thought. I'm doing this wrong, cool. Feel the feeling that comes with that. Sarah explained this like shit. Good, feel the feeling that comes with that. Oh my gosh, I should be working on my to-dos. Awesome. Feel the feeling that comes with that. Whatever shows up, feel the feelings. You only need to do this for 2 minutes. I will set the timer on this. This is my first invitation coming in a moment to shut off the sound that comes with me. Because again, my dream scenario is you start feeling your feelings and you're like, this is so fascinating. This is so cool. I'm digging this so much. I'm just going to keep doing this until my timer goes off. So you already have a timer set for 10 minutes in the next hour. If you don't have that, yay, this is groovy, this is awesome experience. At whatever point you decide that's too much, I'm feeling tortured, I'm curious and I want to know what Sarah's saying, great, turn the volume back up. So please turn your volume down. I will start talking again in 2 minutes. That was 2 minutes. For those of you who are listening now, not required. Here's an invitation though. I would love to, if you would like to, ask a question or share what your experience is. Thank you for sharing that. That is so common. I'm seeing at least one other face going, yep, 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 yeah. We are so used to living in the land of words. And if you're like me, you were trained like find the words, say the words. I mean, I said this to my children, tell me how you're feeling, give me a word for how you're feeling. I've always thought that is like the pinnacle of emotional smartness or capability or awesomeness or maturity or whatever word I want to put on it. This is so the opposite, not the opposite, different than that. It's feeling it. It's beyond words. It's the going back to that time in your life when you were not capable of saying, I am frustrated, right? Or whatever, because you didn't have the words. One, and I struggle with it as well. I just want to be clear. This is very common. One thing David Hawkins says is you have a feeling, you notice the feeling. He says, ignore the thoughts, feel the feeling. I say, good luck ignoring your thoughts. I've never done it. Instead, I say, go ahead and have the thought or the need to label it, and then feel the feeling that comes with your need to label it as my invitation to you. Because I am programmed in ways that sound similar to how you are. And the idea, or what I was taught, is, oh, good, you got the word for it. Now you can move on. But the fact is, I've labeled the shit out of a whole bunch of shit my entire life, and it's still outside knocking on my door. It's waiting to be felt. It wants to be seen. It wants to be felt. So notice that there's a feeling. Feel the feeling completely. Go ahead and let the thoughts, on cartoons, when cartoons, at least, I don't know if this happens on newer cartoons, but in the old cartoons, right? Somebody would bonk their head and then birds would fly around. Let the birds fly around. the thoughts. They're there. I actually think they're serving you well. With the thoughts, feel the feelings that come with it. If the thought is, I don't have a label for it, cool, feel the feeling around, I don't have a label for it. If the thought is, that feeling is joy, cool, feel the feeling around joy. If the thought is, I'm shit at this, cool, feel the feeling around, I'm shit at this. If the thought is, I'm not feeling anything, awesome, feel the feeling of not feeling anything. Trippy, huh? Before I invite you to turn the volume down on me again, I'm going to invite you to do this one little thing that I think is fun. Smile about your smile. Smile about your smile. That's what we're doing. We're feeling about our feelings. The smile about your smile was the easiest access point for me there. Smile about the fact that you're smiling. Feel about your feeling. If you have pain, pain about the pain, feel the pain or discomfort. You may or may not be sitting in that comfortable of a chair. Feel what part of your body is uncomfortable there. That is my next invitation to you. If the first one didn't just start happening for you, either take a piece of what you've heard here from other folks or from my reflections or other people's reflections, or if you'd like a next prompt, we're going to do a short one again. We're going to do 2 minutes. I want you to feel a physical feeling that you're getting. Discomfort, comfort, cold, hot. It's a feeling. Go ahead and feel that. We're going to do 2 minutes again. And if it just gets you started, all we're looking for is that first one that gets you going. If you just want to keep going, keep going. If not, come on back in 2 minutes. So volume down now. That was 2 minutes. If you're back here, if you have questions or experiences you'd like to share, I would love to hear it. I want to pull on the thread of that observation because I think this happens a lot. The thinking about your smile, smiling, or making yourself smile are a different thing than smiling about the smile. And maybe it doesn't feel like it's very different, and it is. It's smile about your smile. It's finding the smile in you and smiling about that. I know this is like fine tuning, kind of like, I don't know if you're all old enough to have had a radio, like a radio, when you went to go find it and you had to like really tune it in, right? We're kind of tuning that radio into that specific AM station that's like from that town that's a little bit too far away, but you just really want to get, and you want to be able to record the song on a tape cassette so that it's clear. So you can make a mixtape for the boy you have a crush on, right? So we're trying to tune right into that. Smiling about a smile, feeling about a feeling is a different frequency than smiling. Hey, if it's like, oh my gosh, if you've ever been in a place where, uh, or where people say to you, oh, you can speak Spanish? Speak Spanish. How am I supposed to just like come up with a sentence, right? Smile, do it. It's like I'm saying, feel. Yeah. What? I'm just going to come for an hour and magically be able to feel some stuff? Who are you kidding? Right? So, yes, making yourself smile or making yourself feel is different than feel about your feeling, smile about your smiling, or just going with whatever crazy shit happens to show up. And that's what I've experienced in doing lots of experiments, is going with whatever crazy shit shows up. If you're like me, what shows up first is often remarkably petty or small things. I thought when I did this experiment for the first time, so I want to say this, in this entire 376-page book, there are 3 paragraphs about how to do the process. 3 paragraphs. It's so funny to me. A total of 3 paragraphs about actually how to do it. The rest is a whole bunch of fascinating, cool stuff. When I sat down to do it, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to finally deal with my, original trauma or something. No, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was remarkably small stuff. Because it's the feeling that's in the front. It's the one that's available. You can for sure think unpurposely. I can unpurposely try to think of something happy or big or small. What I find is that's not as effective as going with whatever shows up, whatever happens to be there for you, and going with it. Does anybody else feel compelled to ask a question or share before we go another round, whatever round this is? Because now I have lost track as I predicted. Okay. Here's my invitation. Well, actually, I want some reactions. Will you give me a comment in the chat? How do I want to ask this question? How directive would you like my next invitation to be? 10 is give me a very clear assignment. 1 is, loosey-goosey. I'd love to hear your feedback on what would be the most helpful. Okay, good. All over the place. Awesome. I'm going to go right in the middle. Okay, here's my invitation to you. For those of you who, no, I'm going to go directive, because those of you who don't want much, you're going to go do whatever you want to do anyway. I know that. I know that about you. So, because I know that that's what your number was. Here's my direction. And we're going to do 4 minutes this time. And I have all these different ways to invite you. I'm going to play a game called Put Your Finger on the Page. Okay, here is my invitation for 4 minutes. It may be more helpful or more easily accessible for you to actually keep your eyes open and just wherever they land. For example, I'm just looking at the books behind Jen, and to say the sentence to yourself, a part of me is a book sitting on that shelf. This is just silly stuff. You don't have to tell anybody you did this today. A part of me is a book sitting on that shelf. Feel that part of you that is a book sitting on that shelf. Or if you are lucky enough to be able to look outside, a part of me is a very old tree standing in the parking lot. Feel the very old tree standing in a parking lot. A part of me is this finger. We're just playing a game. We're playing a silly game, a ridiculous game. I often find silliness and ridiculousness makes this everything, quite frankly, in life easier. So we're just going to play a game for 4 minutes. A part of me is the marker sitting on the floor. A part of me is this cup of tea, and just feel that. And you're going to feel it for somewhere between 1 and 90 seconds until your brain is ready to play a different game, and then play the different game. In 4 minutes, you might be 400 things. A part of me is this. A part of me is the hair on top of my head. A part of me is this shirt. Part of me is the chair I'm sitting in. Just play this silly, silly game. And I'm going to actually back it up to 3.5 minutes because it's so ridiculous. I just feel like making it a little bit less. So that's the invitation. A part of me is have the thought and then feel the feeling that comes with it. All right, turn your volume down, please. That was 3.5 minutes. For those of you who are back, I invite you to keep playing the game. A part of me is. So when other people are having insights, hear their insight and think, a part of me had that insight, and then feel that. So we could just get to keep playing the game. Now, who has questions or observations? We have 7 minutes till all of your alarms go off and we get ready to conclude. Here is my invitation for you for the last round here. and I'm going to give you a choice. Here's one experience I've had. So, choice number one is this. There are times, so I'm going to do a little share and then I'm going to give you two choices. What I've experienced is the more I do the experiment and the more I keep track of the evidence that it's working, the more I do the experiment and the more I keep track of the evidence, right? It's a thing that gains momentum in my life. There are times when I'll notice, like, oh, I haven't done the experiment in a few hours or a day, or it's just feeling like it's slow or something's weird with it. So my invitation to you is to take, I call that experimentation constipation. That's my word for it. Like, what's happening? And I get worried, right? So here's my invitation to you. If during this call or any other time in your life, you're just like, this still isn't working. Here's my invitation. If you're experiencing experimentation constipation, think of the most petty thing you can think of and feel the stuff around that. Here's my petty thing. I am unnecessarily annoyed when people refuse to zipper merge. Zipper merging is when construction is happening and it's going from 2 lanes to 1. When people think you shouldn't drive to the edge, all the way up to the front and then merge there. Some of you might disagree and think I'm butting in line when I drive up. You might have big petty emotions about that. I'm putting all of this in the land of pettiness, even though we all know it's not petty. It's like the most important thing, right? Joking, it is petty. I'm being silly. Okay, so pick a petty thing and feel your feelings about that. That's one invitation if you're experiencing experimentation constipation. Second invitation is this. Go back to, well, I'm not even going to say back to the beginning. I'm going to say this. We're going to go back to your body. I'm going to make my second invitation to you is feel the space between the skin on your hand until you can feel it. And if it takes the whole time to just get that, beautiful. If not, see if you can feel the space between the skin on a second hand. If you get there, then pick another body part and just go around doing that. I said I was going to give you 2 invitations. I'm actually going to give you 3. Third invitation is to sit with whatever thought or whatever feeling you experience. Feel it until the next one shows up. That could be 1 second until the next thing. It could be 90. It's likely not going to be longer than 90 seconds. It's going to be pretty quick. So that's my third. First one, experimentation, constipation, go petty. Second one, go to the body, feeling the space between your skin. Start with one hand. You're feeling the stuff inside between the skin. You can't touch it. I mean, unless you cut your hand open, which I do not recommend on a Monday or a Tuesday or any day that ends with day. I don't recommend it, but you can. Just, I'm not saying that. The space between the skin, then move to another, then maybe a foot or your head, whatnot. You're feeling this part inside of your skin. Third invitation is go with what shows up, and then what shows up, and what shows up, and what shows up. We will do that for 2 minutes, and then we'll come back. All of your timers are going to go off, and we'll come back and conclude. So please turn the volume down, and here we go. That was approximately 2 minutes because I forgot to set the timer at first. And your timer, your personal timer, is about to go off. Before we conclude, this is the last round of running an experiment. Who has questions or observations they'd like to share from that round? Anybody have experimentation Metamucil experience? Thank you for the smiles. I can see your smiles. And those of you who were like, you are so gross, I can see that face too. Oh, let me look. I think I saw a chat. Nope. Okay. Amazing. Oh, space between your skin. Awesome. I'm glad you like that. I stole that. Oh, somebody else liked it too. I stole that from Martha Beck, who I'm pretty sure stole that from someone else. And I can't remember who I think she gave credit to. I think that is, gosh. Once I started running experiments in my life, actually before I started running experiments in my life, I had read Martha Beck's invitation to do that. And what I found is when I was standing in line in different times in my life, when I would usually pick up my phone, instead I would feel the space between my hand because I was so intrigued by it. And that's an invitation. I'm going to leave, we're finishing up here. I'm going to leave you a handful of invitations. The first one is that. Run an experiment on those times in your life when you would have picked up your phone, unless you are someone who's like, oh, my phone use is the perfect amount. I don't use my phone too much. If you're that person also, can we talk? But that's the first invitation. Run an experiment in those moments in your life when you're noticing you're picking up your phone and it's not because your mother's calling and it's not because you are calling your parent or your child or your loved ones. Run an experiment instead. That's my first invitation to you. Second invitation is this. Please believe this. There's no practicing of this. There's only running experiments. This is a fairly carefree thing. You don't have to make yourself do this. This isn't a thing you get good at or you're bad at. You're simply experimenting. You're running an experiment. You're running an experiment every time you notice a feeling, or you notice yourself picking up the phone, or you notice yourself mad, or you notice yourself joyful. This is an invitation to run an experiment. I get access to the experiment feeling a little bit bigger when I do it in a group like this, or I started a Marco Polo group when I'm connected to people there, or when something's big and fresh. Then it's much easier. So I saw, somebody just joined. They can join. Or I think they're rejoining. So when things are really fresh, it's an invitation to do it. In my experience, feeling a feeling completely is usually, again, a handful of seconds, maybe a minute and a half. So this isn't like, oh, I'm in a meeting, I'm having a feeling, I have to leave for an hour. You could probably get away with closing your eyes, feeling it right there in the meeting or in a conversation. Maybe a little weird, not as weird as you probably feel like it is. So I've already talked about how David Hawkins says your ego's not going to like this. Your brain or whatever you want to call it is not going to particularly like this. And it's going to want to tell you that you didn't do it for the last hour, that it didn't work, and that it's not making a difference in your life. So my big, big invitation to you is to keep track of when you see evidence that the experiment is doing something in your life. I mentioned the Marco Polo group. This is a free private group. If you send me an email, Sarah, let's see if I can find the chat. Send me an email. I'll put you in the Marco Polo group, sarahbstern.com. I like going in there and talking about my evidence. I just asked the group there and today if they want little tips and tricks or these sorts of exercises or games in there. If they say they want it, I'm going to start doing that in there. But for some reason, doing this when I'm connected to other people is a little more potent. There's science behind that, I'm sure. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure there's science. Even if you don't do it in the Marco Polo group, download Marco Polo and just keep your own evidence in there, or write it down, or make a video. The reason I like Marco Polo is it's on video, and there's something about seeing yourself talking about something that is really powerful. If throughout this entire time you still think, I didn't do it, it didn't work, or I didn't like it, or it's uncomfortable, instead, here's my invitation. Notice how many invitations life gives you to run an experiment. How many people cut you off in traffic? How many people fail to zipper merge? How many people write you beautiful notes and give them to you on Father's Day? How many people make you breakfast? How many people you love? How many of your neighbors fail to pick up their dog poop? Whatever. Notice the invitations you get throughout your day to feel your feelings. All of life is an invitation. So step one might just be noticing when you get the invitations, and they're all over the place. If you thought this was a valuable use of your time and you think somebody else in your life would enjoy it, please forward the calendar invite or tell them to email me. I do this because it is changing the shit out of my life, and I'm enjoying inviting other people to do it. So please share with other people. If you thought this was the biggest waste of your day, I'm just making this up now, encourage somebody you don't like very much to come. Oh my God, I stole that from my wedding DJ. He said, if you thought I was a great DJ, tell all your friends. If you thought I was a bad DJ, tell all your enemies. So that's what I'm telling you. Tell your friends if you thought this was great. If you thought it was stupid, tell your enemies. Thank you for spending this hour here. I really appreciate your time in this weird only moment in Zoom history when you couldn't see each other and I could see you. Incredible.